AI is coming for your job. Well, at least that's what all the news media keeps telling me over and over and over again. And as someone who works in the AI industry, perhaps I share some level of responsibility for the media's hype about how AI is coming for everyone. But is that really true? If you really think about it, the answer should be very obviously. And spoiler alert, the answer is no, it's not true. But let me explain why it's not true. Because AI is coming to your workplace, it's coming for your work. But if you know about AI and its weaknesses, you can better prepare yourself for how it will impact you, and more importantly, how it won't impact you in the workplace. So, with that in mind, I know we hear all the time about how AI is going to absolutely change the world and change everything that we're doing. There's a lot to unpack there. But for the average worker, for the average workplace, the person who's sitting behind their desk working on a computer screen, AI is going to have a very slow impact upon them. And there's a very, very good reason for that. It's because AI, despite all its praise that it receives in the media, has some rather fundamentally difficult issues that stop it from really being the change everyone's so fearful of. So come with me. Let's dive in and go over why AI is not coming for your job. So, in business, you could do business in absolutely terrible countries with terrible tax codes if they're predictable. Businesses thrive off of predictability. They thrive off of consistency, and they're very slow to update their software. How do I know? Walk into any government office and you'll see they're probably still using, well, hopefully Windows 10 at this point, but it wasn't too long ago they were still using Windows 7. And their propensity to update is probably the reflective of a lot of other people's businesses, where they're very slow to change something that works, that's predictable. The thing with AI is that it's not predictable. And that's the problem. You could spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on a prompt engineer who will take the time to craft the perfect prompt. So that way that prompt fed first. And a prompt is like, imagine yourself as this persona and you're tasked with this, and I need the data out in this way. Here's the data. And then the actual data be fed to it. That prompt, even if you set the temperature, and temperature is how much hallucination, which we're going to get to, at the lowest settings. That way, it's always supposed to give you the same output. As a business, it's you got to realize that it will still hallucinate an output that is different from the result that you want when the data comes in. It will hallucinate math too. I know that's supposed to be solved with code interpreter, but sometimes it doesn't even know what code interpreter does. For instance, OpenAI. But that's not even the worst of it, which is why I'm telling you, don't worry about your job. It's going to be safe for a while. AIs are always getting updated. So let's pretend for a moment that AIs don't hallucinate and that they were always predictable, which is definitely not true. Well, just pretend with me for a moment. They're not static things. They get updated. They get updated often. And as a business, one of the things, at least, back when I was working a lot of IT, one of the concerns I always had is every time an update got pushed out by Microsoft, because software vendors were really slow in terms of updating the programs, it would break stuff. Well, AI is no different. When the underlying model gets updated, the responses can start to drift. So, as a business who's looking for predictability out of their workers, predictability out of their software, when they put data in, they always want it to come out Y. Imagine for a second that it doesn't. Instead, it just gives you a different result. That might be great for a small business who could say, oops, my bad. I didn't mean to do that. Or, hey, please forgive this. But for an enterprise, for a company that has hundreds of thousands of customers, do you want to constantly go in front of your customers and say, well, oopsie, the AI just, it drifted today, or it kind of hallucinated an insult, didn't mean to insult 500,000 people. I mean, that's kind of the issues that's going to slow AI adoption into your job in terms of just quote unquote completely replacing it. Instead, it's more going to be a slow introduction where AI can replace the more tedious parts of your job and allow you with AI to upscale. And that's really where the advantage of AI comes in. But if you tell people, hey, AI is going to replace all the mediocrity in your job, that doesn't sell headlines. It doesn't give images of hell. It doesn't give pictures of Terminator. And so it doesn't sell news. If you say all the hype around AI, if you were to compare that to where we were even 10 years ago, it would be roughly around the same eye that people had about blockchain, how blockchain is going to change the world, how it's going to revolutionize how we do business. And then as the hype settled down and the frauds got cleared away and everyone just kind of figured out that what really blockchain technology is a really expensive, glorified double entry accounting system, that wasn't very sexy. You can't really sell a new way of double entry accounting system. That doesn't sell. New currency? Now that one's sexy, but double entry accounting system that people could check on a public register? Yeah. And so, AI is almost in that same boat in terms of the hype around how it's going to come for everyone's jobs, how it's going to rule the world and become the next governance that will guide our lives into a better utopia. I'm happy to let you know that if you work a normal job, what an AI is probably going to do is when when customer brings in a document, or whether they sent you a document via a customer management system, that document's going to be scanned. The AI is going to understand what that document is. It's going to know where to put it. And then your human's going to say, yeah, that looks about right. And then just going to rubber stamp it. It's going to move along the chain. And that's it. You're still going to need that human there to verify that what the AI said it did actually did what it said it was going to do. And that's going to be very important, because if you're no longer using workers to do tedious BS jobs where they can now actually do stuff that matters, businesses are going to have to sit down and really think, what genuinely matters? And that's a question that businesses haven't asked themselves in this easy money environment for the last 10 or 15 years. But we see that now, those conversations are taking place now in large enterprises like Facebook, like Google, like Cisco, like Broadcom, is they're saying, we spent all this time acquiring human capital, but is that human capital doing something that matters? And if it's not, they're getting purged. Tons and tons and tons of tech workers are getting purged because they were doing jobs that didn't matter. And so you got to ask yourself as an employee, if I'm doing a job, does it matter to the business? Is it bringing in more money than it's costing the business to pay me? Because if that's a situation you're finding where you're getting paid more than you're bringing into a company, unless the value you provide is more than monetary in a way that a business could quantify in terms of monetary units, you're getting cut. And that's what's happening in tech. But is AI taking their jobs? Oh no, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I mean, have you ever seen an AI code? Can it create code? Yes. Can it comment on that code? Well, eh. Can it put that code together in a way that people, or more importantly, a code base can use and will not have a bunch of things called like memory leaks or other issues in programming? Yeah, would you really trust an AI for that? I don't think so. So maybe like small projects. Someone's sitting in their basement. They're really trying to figure out, what's the syntax for this? How do I write this? I'm trying to figure this out. Yeah, back and forth conversation with an AI is great. But is it going to really replace their job? No, no, it's not. Anywho's, if you want more of this, please consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one.